We can start with like the team of the year in the worst way, but we don't have to. For the sake of this, I put them second on the rundown. But Peter, it's the weekend.
Roundup.
Nice growl. How was the NL Central? How was the rest of that tour?
The tour was unbelievably awesome. It was a really surreal moment when we were in Cincinnati doing the live podcast. It was our first one. We wish you were there. Of course, you're calling AAA games, so you have a prior investment there,
I
but I
also just don't
understand.
like you guys. That's why I wasn't there,
It's a
really.
it's a it's a two-pronged thing. You don't like us and you had calling games in AAA. So we get it. But
Yeah.
man, was it fun. Shout out all the Reds fans and fans of other teams. There was even a guy in a Guardians fans jersey who came to watch us. The last two games were incredible.
Yeah.
Cubs come from behind win, which we will talk about in this weekend roundup, as well as the Diamondbacks and the Pirates. That crazy game. Kind of wish the home team Pirates won while we were there at PNC. But I have an official rank of the 5 parks that we went to.
Really? By the
Yes.
way, we're presented by BetMGM as always. It's the weekend roundup. We're going to go through every single weekend series and we're going to tell you what happened in a Spark Notes version and why we think that may have happened and any opinions that we have. I feel like that's a good enough intro for the pod. But now your inarguable National League Central ballpark rankings go.
I'm glad you went with an arguable, but this is what it is. So we did the NL Central tour and we did 5 stadiums in 5 days throughout the entire National League Central. And all 5 ballparks, I think, should be in the upper half of the 30 major league ballparks. I've been to 22 of the 30 in my life, so it's not a complete ranking. We'd have to ask Aram because that was his 30th out of 32 total stadiums because there's 2 old ones that he hasn't been to. But I've been to 22 of them. So at number 5, American Family Field in Milwaukee. It's not because it's a bad stadium. It's just when you're comparing it to the other 4,
Yeah.
tough to get there. Really cool. You'll have the slide up there in the center.
Bernie's Chalet. I was trying to explain to who was I trying to explain to? I was trying to explain to several people that that is like the dream job because it is the easiest job in professional sports. You just kind of hang out, and if your team hits a home run, then you go down the slide and then you go right back upstairs to hang out.
Absolutely. So that comes in at number 5. The beer selection was awesome. The food
Right.
was really good. The fans were phenomenal. But the reason you're at number 5 is, can we get some air conditioning? Now, I know that they are doing a complete renovation. They're spending a ton of money to put some air conditioning into that dome, but god damn it, they need it. I mean, that place, before the dome started to open kind of midway through the game, it was an absolute hot box in there. So, unfortunately, that's going to lower your ranking when being compared to the 4 other great stadiums. So, at number 4, we're going to go with Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Love the park. Skyline chili hot dogs. Couldn't do it. One of the worst things that I've ever put in my mouth. And I got destroyed by Ohioans. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Cincinnatians. Cincians.
Cincinnatian, yeah, whichever one it
Reds
is.
folk. The Skyline chili, why is it sweet? And I found out later there's cinnamon and chocolate in it. You
Yeah.
didn't ever need to do that. You didn't need to do that, but you decided that you had to be different. I didn't
Yeah.
get it. Didn't like it. But in terms of the stadium, awesome. The thing in center field where it kind of looks like a boat. It's like
Yeah.
because of the rivers.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great park. And probably would be close to the top 10 parks. That's how good these National League Central stadiums were. And number 3, Busch Stadium. Shocked by how gorgeous it was. The red seats in left field with the where you can watch a game from a bar and they have like the seats up there. Unbelievably breathtaking. We hear all about how PNC is incredible, and it is, but Busch Stadium was right there in terms of the aesthetic. But at number 2, excuse me, at number 2, PNC Park.
Yeah.
Outside of Petco, I think it's the most beautiful stadium I've ever been to. So it's the East Coast Petco. Those two, I think, are the best looking stadiums, and Busch is up there for number 3. But at number 1, we got to go with Wrigley,
Yeah.
obviously. It's such a legendary ballpark. The Ivy, I don't have to explain how good Wrigley is, but the hot dogs, the Chicago dog, I had one for my first time. It's exactly what I want. Like my
Yeah.
favorite taste profile is like a salt and vinegar chip, like the tartness, the
Yeah.
the vinegary. That's what these Chicago dogs have. with the peppers and the pickles and the mustard. I'm personally a mustard over ketchup guy. It was right up my alley. So to recap, American Family Field, Great American Ballpark, Busch Stadium, PNC, Wrigley, all 5 are above average parks. That's my ranking.
Quick follow-up. I'm disappointed you didn't do the Sky Rosa, and one of our Reds people should have told you to do the Sky Rosa, which is a slice of La Rosa's pizza that you have a Skyline chili dog folded in between, and it's a pizza hot dog combo. I will never do it. I just wanted to see what you would do. How was the Renegade dog? Like, it's very weird being one of the announcers for the Pirates AAA team and never having gone to PNC, but as soon as I get to PNC for the first time,
that's amazing
I'm doing
that you haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the Renegade dog when I get there, though, because I'm a sucker for pierogies.
And it's so funny. Aram had never been to PNC either, and that was my first time too. It's weird that we've never been to a Pirates game when it's not that far. I don't know why.
It's beautiful too.
Beautiful.
Like all I've heard, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I want to cross the Clementi Bridge. I want to have I want to see that pierogi race. I want to eat a Renegade dog. I want to do all these things. Watch Paul Skeens pitch. Like, come on.
So there's a lot of gimmicks at ballparks that suck, right? A lot of these ballparks that bring out their big food thing, which is like a mile-long hot dog just shoveled in with all the crap they could find. Most stadiums, it's not very good. So I went into the review of the Renegade dog at PNC Park very nervous because the thing is a monstrosity. It's colossal. Yeah. It's got pot roast, pierogies, pickles, and onions.
Looked really good.
4 foods that I like on their own.
Like, but combined, it's like, are we sure?
Exactly. That's what I thought. I bit into it. It was good. It wasn't just gimmick good. Genuinely tasty. The hot dog had that snap to it. The pot roast was delicious, and it wasn't too dry or anything. Pierogies were that soft. It kind of added like an extra hot dog bun element to it, but it almost had like a cheesiness to it.
Yeah.
Pickles and onions kind of cut through a lot of that carb. It was actually a really good hot dog. I was shocked. Cool. Skyline chili couldn't do. I'm sorry, Ohioans, red folk. I couldn't do it.
That's fine. And you also turned down the custard at AmFam, which was crazy. I don't know how you're in Wisconsin and don't do custard, but that's beside the point.
I was just too full. I was too full.
Yeah, but like whatever, man.
And I'm also not a huge sweets guy. Like in general, I'm not a big. Like I'm not going to the ice cream. I'm not. I'd prefer to eat like 5 burgers. Like that's my kind of taste. I'm not a huge sweets guy.
Agree to disagree, but we should probably do the weekend roundup now.
Let's do the weekend roundup.
I decided to adjust course, and we're going to start with the elephant in the room. In Minneapolis, White Sox Twins. Game 1. 10-2 Minnesota. I have 18 exclamation point on the rundown. Miguel Vargas homered. Joe Ryan 6 1/3, 2 earned. Royce, Buxton, Willie Castro all homered. Game 2. 6-2 Minnesota. 19 exclamation point. Minnesota with a 3-run bottom of the 8th inning. Brooks Baldwin at his first big league homer. Ryan Jeffers and Max Kepler also homered. Garrett Crochet, 4 innings, 1 hit. It was only the Jeffers homer. Bailey Ober, 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs. You have the opportunity to bully the worst offense in baseball. You do it. Game 3, 13-7 Minnesota. 20 exclamation point. White Sox were down 8-0 after 2. They scratched and clawed their way back to make it a 2-run game. Royce Lewis homered. Minnesota had 6 extra base hits. Andrew Vaughn, pair of doubles. Andrew Benintendi, a homer and a double. Chris Flexen, an inning and 2/3, 8 runs on 7 hits and 3 walks. Now, a couple of interesting notes here. 20-game losing streak for your Southsiders is tied for the 3rd longest losing streak of the modern era, so 1901 and post. The 1988 Baltimore Orioles started the season 0-21, a team that did feature Eddie Murray and Cal Ripken. So Luis Robert and Andrew Vaughn probably ticketed for Cooperstown, if that means anything.
Are we including Andrew Vaughn in that category?
Yeah, Andrew Benintendi and Andrew Vaughn probably ticketed for Cooperstown, if that means anything. Let me just say that I grew up with a children's book in my room about how shitty that start to the season was. It was called The Longest Season. I think Cal Ripken wrote it. Billy Ripken might have wrote it. The longest losing streak of the modern era is 23 games, set by the 1961 Phillies. We're like there at this point. And I want to go through the top 12 in Baseball Reference WAR because this alignment of headshots is utterly hilarious. And I know that Yoan Moncada's presence has been a topic of conversation, but I just want to run you through who these guys are that are top 12 on the Chicago White Sox in WAR this year. Eric Fetty, St. Louis Cardinal.
Yep.
Garrett Crochet, very famously still on the Chicago White Sox.
By
Jonathan,
his own accord. That was his
by
fault.
his own accord. Jonathan Cannon, 50% of people listening to this have no idea who that is.
Maybe
Chris Flexen, fourth on the team in WAR. Terrible.
Chris Flexen is fourth?
Fourth.
Wow.
Chad Kuhl is fifth.
Oh.
Luis Robert, sixth. Jared Schuster, seventh. Michael Kopech, the newest Dodger that looks awesome, eighth. Yoan Moncada, who's played 11 games this year, is ninth on the White Sox in Baseball Reference WAR. Mike Soroka, 10th. 11th is Paul DeYoung, newest Kansas City Royal. 12th, Zach Remillard. I saw that headshot. I was like, I don't know who that is, but I know the name Zach Remillard. I could not pick him out of a lineup. This is as atrocious as you could possibly imagine. I think everybody knew that the White Sox were looking at a terrible season. This is beyond your wildest dreams.
I mean, you're arguably the worst team ever.
Yes.
Full stop. From Peter Botte, I think it's Botte at Peter Botte on Twitter. The White Sox have a 14-game losing streak and a 20-game losing streak this season. If you take out both streaks, they would still have the worst winning percentage in Major League Baseball. So if you took out the 34 consecutive losses over two streaks, they would still be the worst. And if we're talking about FWAR, it's calculated differently than Baseball Reference WAR. Paul DeYoung led in position players at 0.9. We posted this on our Instagram and on our Twitter. Bobby Witt Jr., since the White Sox last win on July 10th, has a 2.1 FWAR. Paul DeYoung leads all White Sox position players at 0.9. Paul DeYoung is now Bobby Witt Jr.'s backup in Kansas City. Yeah. You covered it. I have so many more stats that I was going to ring off that I prepared for this. I think we're good. I think we get it.
We're good.
I think we
covered it.
Yep, I think we covered it. That's the only one I wanted to bring up. That one. If you take out both of these crazy long losing streaks, they're still the worst. That sounds like a Barry Bonds stat where it's like if you take out all of his home runs or you take out all of his walks or something, he's still got the most. Highest OBP of all time.
I saw a weird Bonds number. If you converted all of his career homers to strikeouts, he still has a higher OBP and a lower K rate than Shohei Ohtani or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just stupid. But at the end of the day, man, like the expansion Mets are going to have some company here when we talk about worst teams of the modern era. And it's unbelievable that Crochet and Robert are still on this team.
Yeah, and they killed it at the trade deadline, didn't they?
They killed it. They were awesome. I thought Gerald Perez, Alexander Albertus with a broken leg, and Miguel Vargas, who was running out of leash in LA. That was an awesome return for Eric Fetty, Tommy Pham, and Michael Kopech, no doubt. A+ at the deadline.
Seeing Michael Kopech just dominate the Dodgers bullpen.
It's great. It's awesome. Good for him, man. Right. I'm the Joker.
All right, we can move on now.
I told you I got a notification. Somebody tagged me in something on Twitter and was like, "Do you have any feelings left or something? Like, do you feel anything still?" And I've let it sit for 12, 15 hours, however long it's been. I'll get back to them when I decide to. Let's go to Arizona and Pittsburgh.
Let's do it.
This was a doozy of a series, and you were at the series opener, man. Game 1, I'll give the rundown, but before we get to game 2 and 3, I want to get your feel of what that was like in the ballpark, because game 1 went to Arizona 9-8. It was a 5-run top of the first. Little League home run, Corbin Carroll with a triplet, a throwing error on O'Neill Cruz. After that, back-to-back-to-back real home runs from Ketel Marte, Jock Peterson, Josh Bell. But the Pirates worked their way back and back and back, and Luis Ortiz kind of put a halt to it there. Pirates were up 7-6 after 6. Josh Bell took a ball 102.9 from Aroldis Chapman. Put the slowest swing on a ball I've ever seen. That's not a B swing. That's a C swing or a D swing. And he got the barrel on 102.9 from Chapman on the outside corner and hit it over that Clemente wall in right. But Ketel Marte and Josh Bell both homered late in game, multi-homer nights. O'Neill Cruz at a 5-for-5 day did not matter. Arizona got a 9-8 win. That had to be a hell of a game to be in.
So much fun. And I want to give a lot of credit to Pirates fans. You start off 5-0, down, right? It just feels like, all right, that was an automatic loss. You got Brandon Pfaadt on the other side, who's been a very good pitcher for the Diamondbacks, and you got a very good team facing you in the Arizona Diamondbacks, right? A lot of people could have just head for the exits, maybe early, right? Beat traffic. I mean, what are we watching here? We're already down 5-0 after the first inning.
Yeah.
They stuck in there. And when we were talking to some Pirates fans, a lot of optimism. Why can't we come back? What? Game's over? And they sat there, they fought, and they do this thing where they dangle keys. Have you ever seen them do that?
Mm-hmm.
They're in the bleachers and they're dangling keys. I like that. No, but it was so much fun. These Pirates fans just never say die attitude. And I really appreciated that from them because, you know, a fan base of a team that has been really, really struggling lately, not just this season. This season has been solid, but I'm talking about in the past where those thoughts could just kind of start filtering into your mind where you're like, screw it. Let's just go home.
And the thing is, like, even in their good seasons, like take this year, for example, I think they have the third worst team OPS in Major League Baseball. So like there are clear flaws and deficiencies, but they can store those in an appropriate place and still be positive.
Exactly. And they weren't like arrogant about it, like in a way where, you know, not accepting fate or anything like that. They were just hyped. They were just, I think we could still win this game. And they were all excited and very positive, and it was a great environment to be into. So shout out the Pirates fans. Shout out all of them, especially the ones we met. Great
Game
time.
2. Yeah, game 2 went to Pittsburgh 4-2. It was a Pirates win. Our 8-minute delay kind of sucks because it washed out Jamont after 53 pitches and it washed out Keller after 4 shutout and 60 pitches. So you got to that point. Kyle Nicholas, 2 shutout innings in the bullpen. This guy has been amazing, and I think every Pirates fan is going to tell you that. Kyle went from spraying everything to knowing where his heater's going, and that heater's amazing. And that slider is disgusting. Joey Bart, Brian Reynolds, both homered. Brian Reynolds, a 3-run home run in the sixth, or a 2-run home run in the 3-run sixth. But that was a hell of a game too. And then game 3, Arizona took the series 6-5. So this was decided by a 1-run Diamondbacks win, a 2-run Pirates win, and a 1-run Diamondbacks win again. Paul Skeens, 5 1/3, 5 hit, 2 earned. 1 was relinquished. He left the game with 1 earned, and a run came in. That was inherited by Hunter Stratton. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. ERA on the year after that starts, it's at 1.99. Jock Peterson with a 3-run homer off Colin Holderman, who has really struggled. That happened in the 7th. Ketel Marte solo shot in the 9th to give him a little bit more breathing room. Brian Reynolds, an RBI single, cut it to 1 in the bottom of the 9th, but AJ Puck came in after Ryan Thompson was faltering, and he got the save. My overarching takeaway from this series is the Diamondbacks have created this beast in the bullpen where they can go to 5 guys and feel comfortable.
Absolutely. And I just have more takeaways about the Diamondbacks just to add on to what you're saying. Diamondbacks are just really, really good. They're playing really, really good baseball right now. And you're talking about the bullpen. Couldn't agree with you more, but how about Ketel freaking Marte?
Yeah.
Ketel Marte has been such a freaking stud this year. Offensively, he's hitting 300. He's got 27 home runs. He's got a 919 OPS. And with the range that he has displayed on defense, he's in the 94th percentile in outs above average. He has been one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball this season. That's why he's up there on the F4 totals. Doesn't strike out at all. 17.5%. Hits the living piss out of the ball. Like in 2023, the guy had a 43% hard hit rate. This year, it's 54%. This guy is as good as any player in the game right now. At the top of the Diamondbacks lineup, just dragging this offense that was really slow for most of the year, right? Corbin Carroll, you know, Peyton Guinness just texted at our group chat, Corbin Carroll over a 90 WRC plus alert that he finally got over that threshold. Yeah. It has not been the same Diamondbacks lineup that we saw in the World Series. This has been a struggle, but Ketel Marte has been anything but, and he just keeps hitting. And now the rest of the lineup is finally starting to show what they already showed in the World Series.
Yeah.
But Ketel Marte, man, so cool to see this freakazoid just continue to just destroy baseballs.
Part of it's about being good. The overwhelming majority of it, quote unquote, is getting in and getting hot. And by it, I mean pursuit of a World Series. All you got to do is get in and get hot now. And it is easier and easier to get in. I'm not saying that the regular season means less and less. In essence, it does. But dude, like I'd so much rather see my team faltering in April, May, and June and turning it on right now than being so good and losing, like hey, 10 of 15 or something when you get into September, because that just means the vibe is off. And don't take that as a shot at the Phillies at all. I would take the Phillies in 4 against the Diamondbacks right now.
I would take it as a shot at the Phillies. What are you going to do about it, Phillies fans?
I would take it as the Phillies in 5 because they relinquished game 1 and then they're like, wait, we're the Philadelphia Phillies. But at the end of the day, like they have time to get hot still in mid-September. We could be talking about the Diamondbacks playing their best baseball of the season and other teams that were really good all year long, really struggling or getting unhealthy. And that is what got Arizona to the World Series last year, being hot. And being hot is what got the Texas Rangers a World Series title. So we'll go to the Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins here. This was in Atlanta, 4-game set. Game 1 went to Atlanta 4-2. Charlie Morton, 6 shutout innings. Max Meyer, 5 innings, 4 earned on the other side. Riley and Olsen both homered. They took Meyer deep in the first inning. Those guys homering in the same inning had to be music to Braves fans' ears. Orlando Arcia took him deep in the third. Game 2, 5-3 Atlanta. Spencer Schwellenbach has been on a tear. And Schwellenbach, 7 innings, 3 earned, 10 Ks, and no walks. Did I see 3 straight starts for the rookie Schwellenbach? 8 or more strikeouts and no walks? Yeah, hell of a 3-start stretch.
Yeah, I think he's been an absolute stud. And I think he is a stud. I mean, he's got disgusting stuff. This is a sinker that's touching triple digits at times. Like it's sitting 98 miles an hour. He's really disgusting. But the thing is, he still gave up some runs to the Marlins. Like this Marlins lineup, Braves fans watching this lineup go in and win 2 of the game. It's just how disgusting of a team can you lose to, Braves?
At the end of the day, Atlanta getting 3 in 7 innings from Schwellenbach should be all they need. Breidenberger homered. Arcia homered again. Bummer and Jimenez, Aaron Bummer, Joe Jimenez in that Braves pen. 2 innings, no runs, 5 Ks in those 2 innings. Game 3, though, Miami. So Atlanta swept the first half. I guess it was a split, 2, then 2. Game 3, 4-3 Miami. Jake Berger homered again. Pair of Jesus Sanchez doubles. Those two combined for 5 of the 10 Marlins hits. Berger and Sanchez had all 4 RBIs. Marcelo Zuna with home run number 32. Game 4, 7-0 Miami. This was a total clunker. 6-run fourth. Jonah Bride, a 3-run homer. Max Fried, 3 1/3, 5 earned, 5 walks from Fried. Edward Cabrera on the other side looked awesome. 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 8 Ks. Fried can't keep doing this, man. Like, it sucks that he is firmly relinquished best left-hander in baseball title. I think last year we were talking about Fried and a couple others. Now, like, he's behind who? He's behind Skubal. He's probably on the same,
I don't know,
same line as Ranger. Like, it's just tough, man, because he's turned in some clunkers like this.
And it's more than just him. I'll let you finish the roundup. I have more of a take on the Braves.
No, that was the series.
That was the 4-game series. So this entire season, I have been looking and watching the Braves to see when I should start investing in their futures, whether that be World Series, make the playoffs, whatever. Finding ways to tail the Braves, because we know that the Braves of last year were unbelievable. Now, I know they didn't win in the playoffs really, but still, if they get that team to the playoffs, they can beat anybody on any given day. I've officially stopped looking into the futures market for them. And I'm not saying the season is over. They're going to make the playoffs likely. At least you hope so. But this Braves team just isn't good. They're not that good. They're pretty good. But the offense. What did you say about the Pirates? That they have the 3rd lowest team OPS in baseball? Or something like that?
Yeah.
The Braves have scored 1 more run less than them. Or 1 run less than they have over the entire season.
Wow.
Braves are at 467 runs scored. Pirates are at 468. And now I want to say, well, yeah, the offense has been troubling this year, but Riley is going to start hitting again. Olson's going to start hitting again. They really aren't. And when you lose Albies and you lose Acuna, this offense, like, I can't rely on just Marcell Ozuna. Like, Sean Murphy, since he returned, has not hit the ground running at all. There's so many holes in this Braves lineup that you just can't trust. And if a guy like Max Fried isn't dominating, they're going to lose. Just like they lost to the freaking Marlins. It almost doesn't really matter what team comes into Atlanta or when Atlanta's on the road. If their pitcher doesn't dominate, they really don't win. And it's really hard to win like that. We're watching it with Seattle. But even Seattle's offense is coming alive. The Braves have had months for the offense to come alive, and they just aren't doing it. So I'm not saying that the Braves season is over by any stretch. I'm just saying I am not looking to invest in this team. And the reason I'm bringing it up is not because, oh, Peter's not investing. That means they're not going to be good. I am just letting you all know that I've been aggressively looking to try and invest in this Braves team. And on August 4th, I think I've run out of opportunities to try and find something good to bet on for this team. I just have.
Which is crazy that we're talking about the Atlanta Braves and we're not talking about a team that, is really hot and tapered off. Like, it's the Atlanta Braves. They've been the class of Major League Baseball, you could say, for the last, I don't know, half decade or so. But we'll jump to Washington and Milwaukee. This was in DC. Game 1 went to Milwaukee 8-3. William Contreras and CJ Abrams homered for their respective sides. Frankie Montas made his Brewers debut after being traded from Cincinnati at the deadline. 5 innings, 3 earned, 5 Ks in his Brewers debut. Fine. Nothing to write home about. Jake Irvin, 5 2/3, 4 earned. All-star, schmall star, Mr. Apple. Hater. Yoel Payamps, Hobie Milner, Jared Koenig, Elvis Peguero. Brewer bullpen, man. 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Wow. Milner exploded later, but I was just like, wow, they really shut that thing down without Devin Williams being out there. Game 2 went to Washington 6-4. It was a 4-run first for Washington against Aaron Savali. 4 innings, 5 earned. DJ Hers, 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs, and 6 Ks. Hers has been a revelation for them. Again, he was part of the Candelario return last year at the deadline from Chicago. But Hers has been awesome. Luis Garcia and Rhys Hoskins both homered in that game. Garcia for Washington, Hoskins for Milwaukee. Game 3, Washington takes the series 4-3. Tobias Myers was good again. 5 innings, 1 earned. Mitchell Parker, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Hobie Milner got killed. He didn't fit my agenda he fit my agenda on Friday. He didn't fit my agenda on Sunday. James Wood had a bases clearing triple against Milner that just evaded the diving left fielder's glove in that 6th inning, I want to say. Luis Garcia and Gary Sanchez homered in this game. Mitchell Parker, DJ Hers have become major league starting pitchers this year. I had minimal faith in DJ Hers. I had a little bit of hopeful exuberance for Mitchell Parker. Now they're both, I'm not going to go as far as to say they're both building blocks for Washington, but they are both starting pitchers in the opening day rotation for the Washington Nationals for the next year, 2, 3. You've got them for 6. This is blossoming into a young and decently exciting front 3 of Gore, Parker, Hers. Now, do I want them to spend money to add a 2 starter? So you push Hers back to the 5 starter and Parker to the 4, whatever it may be? Sure. Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, man, 60% of this rotation being Gore, Hers, and Parker is exciting. And that's something to watch for the last 2 months if you're in an attitude.
And of course, Irvin, and then you get back Josiah Gray, hopefully next year. We'll see what, he ends up. But my takeaway is expectations are funny. Because how do we view the Washington Nationals? Fun, up and coming, playing spoiler. How do we view the Blue Jays? Disappointing, old, gross. I'm thinking about that meme where it's one player on one side and the quotes of the other player. They have the same record, which I find interesting. And is that a testament to the Nationals or is that a detriment to the Blue Jays? I don't know. But being at the same record but completely different expectations around the team. Blue Jays are getting older. Nationals are starting to find their footing and going up. And if I were to ask you, the reason I'm bringing expectations into this, your expectation for Blue Jays versus Nationals next year, just two teams with the same record now, could the Nationals have a better record than the Blue Jays do next year? Because that's how it's trending currently.
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I'm thinking about Ricky Tiedemann not joining the fold and arms coming, or lack thereof, arms coming for Toronto. Like, they have no reinforcements left. They get Orelvis Martinez off of his PED suspension. You get a full year of Barger, cool. But like, David Schneider's already up there. Loberfito's already up there. Like, they don't have too much coming down the pipeline. They don't have a legitimate system. Versus, I look at Washington, I'm like, oh damn, you've got Dylan Cruz hanging out in AAA. Oh damn, you've got Brady House hanging out in AAA. You've got all these guys that are like making their way through. Harleen Susana just got to AA. Things are looking way more up for Washington than they are Toronto. And Toronto, like, next year is a sell more year, right? It's, hey, see what you can recoup on Springer, see what you can recoup on Gosman. For Washington, you're not doing that. You're looking to build up, and Toronto's looking to tear down. They're going in totally different directions. They're just at the same place, passing each other right now.
Blue Jays definitely have some strong offensive pieces that are young. You mentioned them, but also Spencer Horwitz, of course, and then of course the arguably hottest hitter on the planet, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is looking like the Vladdy who nearly won the Triple Crown, nearly won the MVP just a few years ago. So they clearly have those offensive building blocks. But to your point about the Nationals developing a rotation, you talked about the three young lefties, but of course you still have Jake Irvin as well. Like, that's a much more fun and exciting and youthful rotation over what the Blue Jays are going to roll out next year. Then we don't even have to mention the Blue Jays bullpen, but that's for another time. But I just wanted to mention that because I think it's funny the way we talk about the Nationals versus the Blue Jays when they have the same record.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. By the way, Susana, just to clarify something, not Double A, he's in High A. 4 starts in High A, 20 innings, 26 Ks, 3 walks. He was the 5th piece in that Juan Soto deal.
That's going to play.
Last year, 63 innings, 40 walks. This year in High A, and he was dealing with command issues at the beginning of the year. For some reason, he's just clicked it into a new gear in High A. Get 20 innings, 26 Ks, and 3 walks. But we'll move on to the next series here in a battle of AL Central powerhouses, or at least one of them is Kansas City and Detroit at Comerica. 4-game set. Game 1 went to KC 7-1. Seth Lugo, 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. ERA's at 2.57 on the year. He's 13-5 for the slap the toothpick in and talk about record folk. Kaider Montero, 7 innings, 3 earned. He was decent in that one. Vinny Pasquantino had a multi-homer day. Bobby Witt had his 20th homer of the year. Game 2, Kansas City wiped the floor with him, 9-2. Salvador Perez, 3 for 5 with a homer against Tarek Skubal. Skubal, 6 1/3, 5 earned. Cole Reagans, 5 2/3, 2 hits and 2 runs. Justin Henry Malloy, our guy, homered. Shelby Miller got killed in a 6-run 7th inning. Game 3, Detroit got a win, their only win of this 4-game series, but it was an exciting one. 6-5 in 11 innings. Wenzel Perez, a walk-off single in a 2-run bottom of the 11th, would have been a double. It was a wall banger, just missed getting out for a walk-off homer. They were down 3-1 in the bottom of the 9th. Bly Madris homered. Javier Baez with an RBI double to tie it. Vinny and Paul DeYoung, newest Kansas City Royal, and current White Sox WAR leader in that 20-game losing stretch. They were the guys that homered. Michael Lorenzen made his Royals debut. He was good. 5 2/3, 1 run. Hunter Harvey with a blown save. So it was Kansas City Royal, quote-unquote, closer, really got hit. Game 4, 3-2 Kansas City. They secured the series win. They were down 2-0 in the 9th inning. How about pinch hit, 3-run homer for MJ Melendez with 2 outs in the top of the 9th to give him a 3-2 lead. Hunter Harvey shut it down. He got the save redemption there. That was a huge home run that MJ Melendez hit on Sunday. Without that, we're talking about a series split. We're talking about the Royals kind of jostling in that wild card quagmire, but it always feels good, no matter who you're playing, go on the road and legit win a 4-game set. There's something about winning a 4-game set compared to a 3-game set that feels oh so good.
Especially against a division rival like that. And I didn't have a ton of takeaways from this series, kind of to all the points that you mentioned, where the better team went in and won.
Yeah.
But so I don't have that many good takeaways, but I do have a feel takeaway. And it's not really backed by anything. It's just what popped into my brain. So I'm saying it on this podcast, whether it makes sense or not. The Royals' best versus the Tigers' best. Cole Reagans for the Royals against Tarek Skubal and the Tigers. Tarek Skubal has been the better pitcher than Cole Reagans has this year. So the Tigers were priced as the slight favorite. And the Royals win 9-2. And what the feel take that I had from this game was...
Yeah. Now, asterisk, Shelby Miller got annihilated in that game.
100%. That was going to further my take. It wasn't that Skubal struggled. When you have the best of the best, pitcher versus pitcher, and the game is 9-2, that speaks more to the rest of the team. That look where the Royals offense is right now. Look at where the Royals bullpen is right now. Look at where the Royals defense is right now compared to the Tigers. Right? Because if you're the Tigers and you're a Tigers fan, you're kind of comparing yourself to the Royals. You're both not very good last year. You're both trying to come on the way up. And the Royals window is just opening sooner. You're seeing how their offense operates. You're seeing their bullpen. You're seeing their defense when it's best of the best. And in the best of the best matchup in Comerica, the Royals win by 7. And that's what the feel take is that you're seeing both of these quote unquote rebuilds start to go into not rebuilding, start into just straight up building. And the Royals are just that far ahead in a standalone game. Now, I know it's one game. That's why I said it's not a very good take, but that's what it felt like to me. When you're looking at both these two teams, the best of the best on both sides of the mound, the Royals win by 7.
Well, and counterpoint, in essence, furthering your point, like I'm almost yes-anding.
Mm-hmm.
I think the argument's there to be made that Seth Lugo is Kansas City's best, not Reagan's.
True. Yeah.
Right.
So but I mean, like,
but
quote unquote,
you know what I mean?
Royals fans, like Cole Reagans is the guy. I know Seth Lugo has been better this year. I know. But I think Reagans is a better pitcher.
That's the thing. The fact that that's even a conversation is even more of a testament to Kansas City that they are in a much better spot.
And a testament to their front office, right? The Tigers had an opportunity to sign Seth Lugo. It's not like he was this $500 million pitcher or anything like that crazy.
No.
The Royals got him on a multi-year deal, not paying him that much.
Yeah.
Tigers could have done that. They could have identified that, but they didn't.
Well, they identified Jack Flaherty, and that worked well. They identified Flaherty.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me just say that their high A team running out, Tyrone Lorenzo, who was part of that Flaherty return, Max Clark, who's got 15 hits in his first 9 games in high A.
So good. He's been so good.
Kevin McGonigal, who popped a 112 in Fort Wayne this week.
That's going to play.
That's really exciting. And I will tell you, I just got done watching a week of Toledo Mud Hens baseball. Torque looked really right this week. Like, he looked awesome and angry this week, and he was killing the ball all week long. Trey Sweeney hit the shit out of the ball all week. It was Lorenzo and Sweeney that was the return. I know Sweeney was like, hey, he was really only hitting homers in Albuquerque when he was with Oklahoma City, but he was killing the ball in big moments too. And then Jace Young, like, he's ready come September. So they have the future in the not so distant future. That's the thing. So, like, you can add even September 1, you can add Sweeney, Torkelson anytime, but Sweeney, Young, Torkelson on September, and they join a lineup with Colt Keith, Justin Henry Malloy, Wenzel Perez. Like, it starts to get a little bit sexier. And then when you get that next wave of Lorenzo, Clark, McGonigal, either end of next year or the beginning of 26, we're really starting to cook with gas here.
100%.
Yeah, you can
100%.
get excited. So I'm big on that front. I got 2 more series, and then we got to get to Peter as well. And we go to one that was pretty funny in the grand scheme of the trade deadline, and this happening the weekend after the trade deadline. It was Tampa and Houston. And there were a lot of recent headline names that kind of dominated this weekend set. Game 1 went to Houston 3-2. Yusei Kikuchi, 5 2/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 11 Ks. Tampa got their 2 runs in the first inning on a 2-run home run from
Christopher Morel.
No, Dylan Carlson.
Oh, yeah. But Morel hit home runs in that series, correct? Or was it the series
I don't think so. No, it was a series before, but Morel hit the ground running right away. And then
I got my
Dylan
new Rays mixed up. Yes,
Fair.
it was Carlson.
But Dylan Carlson, that 2-run homer bumped his OPS on the year to 531. So good for Dylan Carlson here. Rejuvenation for Carlson.
Man, don't sleep.
Game 2, 6-1 Tampa. Josh Lowe. This was the Josh Lowe game. 4 for 5, 2 homers, 3 driven in. Yandy and John Singleton also homered. Zach Littell. I know it feels like you're playing with fire, but at the end of the day, on Saturday, he was good for them. 5 2/3, 1 run. Sunday, 1-0 Tampa. And if this ain't the Tampa Bay Rays, I don't know what is. Hunter Biggie was the opener. Tyler Alexander, the long man. Edwin Uceta, Manny Rodriguez, Pete Fairbanks finished the job. Hunter Biggie just came over in that Isaac Paredes deal. Manny Rodriguez was a castaway by the Chicago Cubs. So they went with one man's trash in regards to 2 Chicago Cubs relievers. And not to mention, you've got Tyler Alexander, who was a Detroit Tigers castaway, finishing off a bullpen game shutout. Interesting note, Tampa has now won 11 straight rubber games. The last team to do that was Oakland with 12 straight in 1989. That's per Elias and Adam Berry, who covers the Rays for MLB.com. But 11 straight rubber games. Tampa has no problem getting Series Ws, it seems.
Good for them.
Right?
So my big takeaway from this series is actually Yusei Kikuchi. Lance Brozdowski, who we've talked about a ton on this podcast, has been on this podcast, friend of the show, does fantastic work for what seems like 70 different publications, MLB Network, Marquee. I mean, we could just keep listening. He's fantastic. Go follow him on Twitter. He talked about the adjustment that the Astros made with Yusei Kikuchi. So what they did was his curveball was getting destroyed with Toronto. He's thrown it 16% of the time, 790 expected slug against that pitch. In yesterday's outing, threw it 2% of the time. He also made 2 more usage adjustments. And now this is all to right-handed hitters because he's facing more righties than lefties, clearly, because when you're facing Kikuchi, you don't want to put any lefties in. So it's predominantly to righties. So that curveball lowered it a ton. Threw less than 40% four-seamers for just the second time this season. And he threw a season-high percentage of sliders to righties at 27%. So my takeaway is not only did the Astros tweak Kikuchi a little bit, but maybe there was a reason for them giving away all these prospects. Are they just that dumb where they're like, oh, we just need a lefty, and they just gave up all of those prospects?
No, I think it's more the latter.
Maybe, right? Maybe they saw something in Kikuchi because he had 11 strikeouts in this game, looked really, really good. And you could see, well, his curveball's getting hit, so they're lowering it. They're making good adjustments there. Could it be enough to make him a very solid starter versus a back-end starter? Potentially, which makes the trade look still not good, but somewhat sort of okay, I guess. That's
that
where
much
I put
for
it.
a rental. That much for a rental was egregious.
I agree, but if this does work, can stomach it a little bit if he's dominant for the rest of the season. But again, we'll see. We got the data from the first start, looked a lot better, clear changes. See if this continues.
Yeah. Last but not least, on my end, we go to Philly and Seattle. Thank goodness Philly got one on Sunday. It was starting to actually turn into a slide that I was very concerned about.
Agreed.
Game 1, 10-2 Seattle. Both teams had 9 hits apiece. It tells you that Seattle was converting way better than Philly was. Seattle had a 7-run second. Tyler Phillips had his welcome to the big leagues moment after being so good, 5-6 turns through. Tyler Phillips, inning and 2/3, 5 hits, 3 walks, 3 homers, 8 earned runs. Brian Wu, meanwhile, 7 shutout innings, 6 Ks, no walks, ERA lowered to 2.08. I want to say it sits at right now. Victor Robles, Luke Raley, Justin Turner, Mitch Haniger all homered. Justin Turner's was a grand slam in that 7-run second. Game 2, 6-5 Seattle in 10. Carlos Estevez issued the walk-off walk. It was a bullpen game for Philly. Colby Allard was the long man. Jeff Hoffman, 4 runs allowed in an inning, bumped the ERA to an astronomical 1.72 on the year. This is what the Philly slide has felt like. Orion Kirkring, Jeff Hoffman, Matt Strom, Jose Alvarado, Carlos Estevez. 5 2/3 in a game that they allow 6 runs. That shouldn't be happening with them. But again, Hoffman had the one blow up that he's allowed every season, and this guy's an all-star for a reason. But game 3, Philly salvages 6-0. It was 1-0 through 7. This was pitching bliss. The only run through the front 7 innings was the first hitter of the game, Kyle Schwarber, with a leadoff homer against Logan Gilbert. Gilbert, 6 innings, 1 run, no walks, 7 Ks. Zach Wheeler, 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 9 Ks. Stott, Harper, Bohm, all homered in the 8th off Jimmy Garcia. Stott homered off Jimmy Garcia, and then Harper and Bohm homered off Taylor Saucedo. That was good to see the EKG actually spike on Philly, because it was really quiet. I was starting to not worry, but I was starting to be like, all right, like, you're the Phillies, start Phillying again. I hope that's what gets them in gear. But at the end of the day, I know you ran into them at the right time. Good for Seattle getting a series win.
Yeah. All my takeaway was also centered around Philly. And the fact that yours kind of was too. I do want to shout out the Mariners. Big series win. They've won 6 of their last 10 games, and they are 1 game above the Astros in this division. When all hope looked lost with this offense, Julio Rodriguez goes down. JP Crawford goes down. They've been filling the voids, and they've been hitting. So shout out the Mariners. Never say die. That was the attitude I wanted to see from the Seattle team after those injuries ensued. And they've done exactly that. So shout out the Mariners. Yeah, I mean, we could say that they needed this win, and absolutely, but I'm not totally sold on this Phillies slide, like not continuing even more, because how I viewed this game was Zach Wheeler said, I think I'm the best pitcher in baseball, and he has the argument to be so, right?
Yeah.
Of course. Everyone's putting Wheeler in their top 2, 3, whatever. Some people are putting him at 1. That was a stopper. That was a guy who comes in and stops the losing streak. That's why you pay him so much money, because that's what he can do. He can go win you game 7, and if you're on a slide, he can make sure he can will you all to victory. But besides the pitching, dude, Bryce Harper in the month of July, 598 OPS, slashing 149, 240, 358. Now, before that game against the Mariners, the last game, where he went 3 for 4 with that bomb, he was 1 for 8 against the Mariners. So hopefully this is a win that propels the Phillies forward. You get a dominant performance from Wheeler, and you get Bryce Harper looking like Bryce Harper again. But you better continue it, right? It can't be like, oh, good, we got the win, and then you go on another slide, because you do not want to be that team, Phillies, where you start off really hot, and then as we get closer and closer to October, that's when you start to falter, and then it's a quick exit. We can't do that. Yep. You got to get the ship going soon. Yep. So get your losses out of the way now and go start winning soon, or else there's going to be some conversations here of a Phillies team that maybe got hot too soon.
Without a doubt. All right, we're going to get to Peter's series. Before that, quick break.
All right, let's get into my series, and we're going to start with the Yankees versus the Blue Jays, a series in which the Yankees won 2-1. But in game 1, it was the Blue Jays who won 8-5. Judge hit his 40th home run of the season, 477 feet, becomes the 4th Yankee with 3 or more 40 home run seasons, joining Babe Ruth with 11, Lou Gehrig with 5, and Mickey Mantle with 4. And that was the last good Yankees highlight, outside, of course, Anthony Volpe hit a home run. Gleyber Torres was removed after 3 innings after not running out a double, staying at first, was jogging, cost the Yankees a run when he was thrown out the plate, trying to score on a Volpe 2-out double. Gleyber then, after the game, did apologize and agreed with Aaron Boone's decision. Vladdy, Horowitz, Loperfido, Ernie Clement all had multiple hits in this game, but neither Gausman nor Stroman pitched very well. Blue Jays win. But in game 2, Yankees win 8-3. Judge hits his 41st. But Vladdy, Anthony Volpe, and Trent Grisham also went yard. Vladdy went 3 for 4. And after hitting 360 in July with an 1,100 OPS, like I said earlier, this is just hard to find a hotter hitter in Major League Baseball. Game 3, Yankees went 4-3 in 10 innings. Banger of a game. It was 2-2 in the 7th before Soto hit a home run to take the lead. Jays tied it up back in the 9th with a Alejandro Kirk sack fly. but the Yankees win it in the 10th with a DJ LeMahieu RBI single. Garrett Cole was fine, 5 2/3, 2 earned, 4 Ks. Yariel Rodriguez had 4 shutout innings. Yankees moved to 67-46, tied for first place. Blue Jays moved to 51-61.
So it's starting to become a real conversation when it comes to the American League Most Valuable Player.
Oh,
And that, I guess that's kind of a Bobby Witt takeaway. So it's kind of a Royals takeaway, but Judge, like seeing him do this and then turning the channel and like seeing Witt do that. I'm just like,
it's incredible. It's like
Can
they're both the best. I don't
Right,
know
like-
who to pick either.
can we do the co-MVP thing? I will
Can we?
say, like just looking at Aaron Judge's numbers through 110 games this year, and it's funny. I heard the term horrible in regards to Aaron Judge's month of April. I was like, oh yeah, I remember he was really bad. It was an 811 OPS. Like let's figure out the firm definition of horrible or
That is
terrible.
horrible for him for how good he is.
I know
Horrible.
by his standards, hitting
That's
220
crazy.
with an 811 OPS was horrible. But just looking at the month by month splits, it's utterly insane. 110 games for Judge this year. The fact that we're sitting here on August 4th saying this guy is hitting 321 with 41 homers and 103 driven in, and he has an 1154 OPS right now. I don't know how he's going to finish this year. 1154 is 43 points better than his 62 homer season.
I don't know what the voters are going to do. Let's say Judge hits 60 and hits 320 this year and puts up like a 9.5 win season.
And Bobby
Witt
Witt's a 10 win
puts
player.
a 10.5 win season while hitting
40-40. Yeah.
It's like, what do we do? What do we do? I don't know.
Co-MVPs.
Like,
the answer is co-MVPs.
I'm a Yankee fan. I'm not sitting here being like, well, then you give it to Judge, right? Because Judge is no.
And he's the captain.
Bobby Witt is fucking awesome. Yeah. He's so awesome. I don't know at all. I just love watching them both. We'll just see. Like if Judge doesn't win the MVP because Bobby does that, hats off, man. Because holy shit, is he so good? Holy shit, Gutter's so good. These guys are just so good at baseball. It's incredible.
It's absolutely insane. That was my only takeaway from this week. And like, yeah, I appreciated the Blue Jays offense kind of being young and fresh and exciting and yada yada. But at the end of the day, all eyes on Judge this weekend.
Prop the series, so it makes sense that the Yankees would get a takeaway here. So we'll move on to. I don't know if this was the best series of the weekend, but it was damn close. Orioles Guardians split series 2-2. Game 1, all Guardians 10-3 win. David Fry and Bo Naylor both 3-run home runs. Jose Ramirez had a 2-run home run. Not as cool, still a home run. Trevor Rogers' debut, not great. 4 1/3, 5 earned. The new Baltimore Oriole from the Miami Marlins. And Ben Lively, man, I freaking love Ben Lively. Shoved again, lowers ERA to 3.42 after 6 innings of 2-run ball. And newcomer Lane Thomas had 2 hits of his own. Game 2, Guardians win 8-4. Classic Guardians offense game. I was going to list a bunch of guys, but you know what it is. It's everyone doing their part. And just to further that point, Austin Hedges had 2 RBIs in this game, but Josh Naylor led the offense, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs of his own. Carlos Carrasco, weird start, allowed 1 hit, 1 run in 4 innings, but walked 4. Kobe Mayo debuted 0 for 2 with 2 walks, 2 Ks. Not great, but not bad either. Newcomer Gregory Soto in that Orioles bullpen only got 1 out and allowed 4 earned runs. Guardians win 8-4. Game 3, Orioles win 7-4. Newcomer Zach Eflin dominated 6 1/3, 2 earned. And newcomers Austin Slater and Eloy Jimenez both had 2 hits of their own. Joey Cantillo, second rough start since being called up. 4 innings, 3 earned, ERA to 7.36. And Jose Ramirez hit a home run, but it just wasn't enough. Game 4, Orioles win 9-5. Both Corbin Burns and Gavin Williams really struggled. 5 earned runs allowed for the both of them or more, including Gavin Williams, who allowed 6. Holiday and Henderson both homered. 2 names I feel like we're going to be saying a lot moving forward. Josh Naylor homered, but the Orioles offense just cruised. Orioles moved to 67-46, tied for first. Guardians moved to 67-44, 4.5 games up at the division lead.
It's almost like this guy might have just needed a second to recalibrate, huh?
I don't know. I was ready.
That Holiday guy?
I don't know. I was ready to give up on him after 40 at-bats at 20 years old, after being drafted out of high school like 2 years ago.
4 games in August, he's 6 for 13 with a double and a homer. Can everybody relax?
I actually, you know what? I'm gonna go on a limb here. I think if you gave up on Jackson Holiday, you lost your ball knower card. You lost it.
Yeah.
I think it because if you were that dumb, Like, it's not even to say, oh, Jackson Holiday is automatically going to be an MVP. He's going to be amazing. I'm just saying he could be terrible. But if you gave up on him after that little stint, you're not a ball knower. You just aren't. I'm sorry, but you aren't. Because how can you do that? How can you do that? How can you be that soft? How can you be that reactive?
I mean,
Ball
just
knower
bury
cards
him.
are being taken away from everybody who doubted Jackson Holiday when he first
Just
came up.
bury him. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, did he look blatantly overmatched? Yes.
Yeah, at 20. In his
But
first big league appearance. Sorry.
may I repeat, it's almost like this guy might have just needed a second to recalibrate.
Give the man a second. He could have been a sophomore at LSU right now. He would like just be starting the school year. He wouldn't be even playing college baseball right now. He's
Really,
20.
he would have finished up his sophomore
Yeah,
year.
his second year at college, and he'd be like going in this year draft eligible.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
Cam Canarella just like got
Like
settled.
if Cam Canarella had a tough time in Major League Baseball right now.
Interesting.
I mean, put things in perspective here. He's 20 freaking years old. Give the man a second.
Sure.
All right, let's move on to the next series. Dodgers versus A's. Competitive. But Dodgers did win 2-1. Game 1, the A's took it 6-5. Teoscar Hernandez started the game with a 2-run home run. Ohtani ended the game with a 3-run home run, but that was it. The middle innings were dominated by the A's. Shea Langeliers, Seth Brown homered in the 4th. Brent Rooker homered in the 5th. Brent Rooker has been so freaking good. Surprised the A's didn't trade him, but
How is he still in Oakland, A? I have no idea. He's
But
going to
damn it.
Sacktown, man. He's one of the stars going to Sacktown.
Honestly, dude's been awesome. Another guy going to Sacktown, likely, probably stick in the A's rotation, Joey Estes. Another pretty solid outing. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned, 6 strikeouts. Gavin Stone did struggle. Allowed 5 earned in 4 innings. That was the first time he's allowed 5 runs since his second start of the year against the Cubs. Game 2, Dodgers beat the piss out of the A's 10-0. Jack Flaherty dominated. First start with LA. LA kid. I bet on the under 8.5 runs because I thought he would dominate, and I wasn't really a big fan of the Dodgers offense. And they had a 2-0 lead in the 7th. Put on 2 in the 8th, and I'm feeling okay. But then they scored 6 freaking runs off Kyle Muller in the 9th. 10-0 win. Mitch Spence, pretty good. 5 2/3, 2 earned, 6 Ks. Game 3, Dodgers win 3-2. Kike Hernandez 2-run double for LA. Brent Rooker home run for Oakland. Tied 2-2 after the first inning. And a Biggio single. Kevin Biggio for the Dodgers in the 3rd got the lead, and the game was over. Osvaldo Bido, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned, 6 Ks. River Ryan allowed 2 earned in 4 2/3, but the Dodgers bullpen shut the door in this game. Dodgers moved to 65-47. A's moved to 46-67.
It's Indianapolis Indians legend Osvaldo Bido you're talking about. Did you see Addison's tweet about the clubhouse Wi-Fi in Oakland?
Mm-mm.
The network is Clubhouse, all lowercase, and the password is baseball, all lowercase. It was behind Flaherty in his post-game media availability.
I respect the hell out of that. How many Airbnbs have you been to where the password is like lowercase w, 12 numbers? Yeah, good. Clubhouse baseball. Who's trying to hack into the A's internet anyway? Good. I'm glad it's that.
Yeah, so yeah, password again is baseball. My favorite was like Spectrum Wi-Fi. I had Spectrum Wi-Fi in college, and the auto-generated password it always gave you was adjective, noun, and then 3 numbers. So our password was content poodle 892, and I guarantee there are so many Spectrum Wi-Fi people that have like adjective, noun, 3 numbers. I like baseball, all lowercase, way better. But
Yeah. Wait,
Flaherty going, yeah.
Well, just one thing. I'm not very inventive either. That's why I respect the A's. Like at my studio apartment, my Wi-Fi, the name of the Wi-Fi was just baseball, and my password was Garrett Cole. So I'm also not that inventive of names. So I respect the A's. Like that, the person who made the A's Wi-Fi is cut from the same cloth as I am. Just put
Yeah.
our favorite thing in the username and password.
But here's the thing. I'm going to poke a hole in that. Is the A's favorite thing baseball? Are we sure about that?
Oh, you better not be hating on the A's right now. The A's are fighting.
You're
The
right.
A's
No,
offense
no.
is fighting. We can talk about
John,
other teams there, not
no,
the
you know
A's.
what? You're right.
John Fisher.
He
Don't
put them
blame
in
the
a
players.
No. John Fisher put them in a position to succeed. He wanted to tie both hands and both feet up and duct tape their mouth and throw them in the middle of the ocean just to show grit. And they're showing grit right now.
Exactly. And so we can't blame the players here. We can blame that dumbass owner, John Fisher, but that's about it.
Fair. My two takeaways from this: Flaherty was wearing a cutoff tank underneath his jersey, and he's wearing number 0.
Like
He
that.
was he totally leaned into the SoCal thing. It was unbelievable. And then Kike Hernandez finishing the job on Saturday and then calling out Andy Pages for not getting to a ball in the outfield. That was leadership there. Yeah, big time leadership.
Big time leadership. All right, let's move to Mets versus Angels. Angels win the series 2-1, but in game 1 it was all Mets winning 5-1. This series was extremely uneventful. Newcomer Paul Blackburn dominated. Shout out Paul Blackburn. I love Paul Blackburn. 6 innings, 1 earned, 6 Ks. Alonso's 23rd home run of the year was a 2-run shot. Was basically it. Game 2, Angels win 5-4. I take back what I said at the beginning. This game was sick. Angels grabbed a 2-0 lead until the 7th before a JD Martinez grand slam, but Zach Neto came up in the 7th. 3-run bomb to retake the lead. Jose Soriano has not only been good in this game, allowing no earned runs in 6 innings with 6 strikeouts, he's been so good all season. ERA down to 3.47. But Ben Joyce, 105 miles an hour, 104.8 he hit, which is the fastest pitch in StatCast era. And his ERA is at 1.82. The Angels found themselves a closer. Game 3, Angels win 3-2. Probably the least eventful game of the weekend. No home runs. Nobody in the game had multiple hits. None of the starters even pitched that well. Quintana gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Griffin Canning allowed 1 run in 5 innings. Did have 8 strikeouts, so I guess that's decent. The Angels moved to 49-63. Mets fall to 58-53. 1.5 games back of the wild card. Mets needed to win this series. And I saw a tweet from Jolly Olive, who I love and I think does a great job. He said, if the Angels win this game, all the doomer Mets fans living in their basement are going to crawl out and start complaining again. And I couldn't agree more. After the game ended, you go look at Mets Twitter, season's over again.
Wait, so you said fastest pitch? Sorry, like that's very funny, but
I thought it was, I'm just, he said it before the game started. I saw that tweet, so I was like, all right, I got to go look at Mets Twitter after. He was so right. The day after, it's just, oh, we suck. We're terrible
yeah.
again.
I'm telling you, they
I
love hating the New York Mets, man. Like
That's why I
it's so
love the
clear.
New York Mets
Yeah,
fans.
I
Like
know.
I'm
I
also
know.
cut from that cloth, and I relate to it so much. It's like when you're losing, the everything is over, and when you're winning, it's unbelievable. I get it. I get it.
Right. You real quick, you said Ben Joyce 104 point, it was 104.7 or 104.8. You said hardest pitch of the StatCast era. I thought it was hardest pitch to get a strikeout in the StatCast era.
I might have read the tweet wrong from Sarah Langs. I thought I saw 104.8 was the fastest pitch of the Statcast era.
I
Again,
thought
could be wrong.
Chapman got to 105.1 in the StatCast era,
I
but
don't.
I
Yeah,
will
was it Statcast era? Wasn't that Reds like 2013? Statcast era 2015?
Yeah, let me go find this Joyce pitch because I do think that here we go. Fastest strikeout pitch in the pitch tracking era,
Okay.
2008, 104.7.
That's my bad. My bad,
No,
folks.
all good.
Fast as shit, though.
Yeah, really fast.
Fast
I
as
think that's the
shit.
main takeaway.
Yeah, that is the main takeaway. All right, let's move on to Rockies versus Padres. Padres win the series 2-1. Game 1. Rockies win 5-2, and that was coming into the series. 5th straight Rockies win against the Padres to this point. Gomber dominated. Austin Gomber, 7 innings, 2 earned, 6 Ks. Brendan Rodgers, Manny Machado, Donovan Solano, all homered. But Chris Bryant's 2-run single gave Colorado the lead in the 6th, and they never looked back. Also, Brenton Doyle robbed a home run. It was absolutely electric. One of the best defenders in Major League Baseball. What a story Brenton Doyle of the Rockies has turned into. Game 2, Padres exact revenge, winning 3-2. This is hilarious. Martin Perez dominated 6 innings, 1 earned, 7 Ks. The newcomer, the big arm that the Padres got at the deadline, got him a win here. Hunter Goodman and Jacob Stallings homered for the Rockies, but it wasn't enough as Xander Bogaerts had multiple hits, including an RBI single to take the lead. And shout out Tanner Gordon, 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned, 4 strikeouts for the Colorado Rockies. Game 3, Padres blew the doors open. 10-2 win. Waldron, excellent. 5 2/3, 1 earned, 7 Ks. Profar, Cronenworth, Machado, and Bogaerts all had 2 hits, and one of Profar's hits was a home run. Also, David Peralta and Kyle Higashioka went yard. Stallings and Doyle solo shots were the only Rockies runs. Padres moved to 61-52. Rockies fall to 41-72. My main takeaway from the series is that the Padres are a problem.
Fair. problem until when?
I think just a straight up problem. This bullpen is so good. And now it's funny, it's not really a takeaway from this series because like beating the Rockies 2 out of 3 games, like I'm not going to be able to take away much from you. But just the way that they've been playing lately, won 8 of their last 10 games, just been a freaking rocket ship. The offense is great. And now the pitching behind Cease, you get a little nervous there. But if Musgrove and Darvish, if one of them comes back and pitches well, add that to Michael King and Matt Waldron and I guess Martin Perez. But it doesn't even matter because the bullpen is so freaking locked down. Adding Jason Adam,
Cease?
adding Tanner Scott. I said Cease at the beginning.
Yeah.
That it's almost they're falling into the Brewers or Guardians mold. Let's just get the best bullpen humanly possible, and all we need is 5 innings, 2 runs from our starters.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
if that means, mortgaging Lesko and Snelling and shipping them out, like, so be it, because you got Jason Adam and Tanner Scott on the back end, too.
The Padres could win the National League pennant.
Yeah.
Like,
they commit to this year.
Yeah. They could win the World Series this year.
I think we clown them for lack of sustainability, but they could absolutely run the table this year.
Yeah, it's like if you were going to trade those people, you better be in line to potentially win the World Series, which they are. Because, right, we're watching the Phillies faltering. The Dodgers don't look good right now either. Nobody in the Central, like the Brewers are good, but truthfully, I'm not afraid of them in the playoffs. And the Braves, we just went over how I'm not really trying to invest in them. So the Padres, I think, have a real lane here. And I think that's why they attacked, and
it's open.
They're really good. Like Tatis isn't even back yet. Bogart's just returned and has been lighting the world on fire since he has.
Yeah.
Profar is still just the MVP. I mean,
right. At this point, 2 weeks ago, I would have told you that the Phillies, in essence, have a golden ticket to the World Series. And I know that the MLB postseason never works like that. And you can poke a hole in that theory, entirely. And I'm like, hey, I'm totally with you. I don't think any team has a golden ticket. But if any team had anything close to they are clearly them versus the field, I thought it was the Phillies 2 weeks ago. Seeing the Phillies downturn and seeing the Padres level up like this, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think it's very clear that nobody is even close to being that golden ticket team.
It's wide open in both leagues. This is an incredible year of baseball where there's not one juggernaut, right? You see the Yankees and the Phillies just kind of take hold, and then they struggle. And the Orioles have the opportunity to leapfrog both of them. They struggle. And the Guardians are very, very good, but they've had a little bit of their ups and downs, and there's also worries in the rotation.
Every team has a flaw. Every team has a flaw here.
Tons of them. All right, let's go to Giants versus Reds.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
One thing to point out, that Britton Doyle catch, eerily similar to the Adam Jones catch in the World Baseball Classic.
That's what I was going to say, too. Like, almost the exact same spot.
Yeah, like, I think Britton Doyle was a little bit more towards right center than straightaway center, and Jones got more airborne, but Doyle was more horizontal. At the end of the day, like, you put those videos side by side, they look eerily similar.
Another one that looked eerily similar to that, not exactly perfect, but if I were to bring up another example, remember that Mike Trout one in Baltimore? In Baltimore, that it kind of gave me that vibe too, even though the wall's a little bit higher there, but the way they clanked up against the wall, very similar spots too, kind of reminded me of that one.
Like working at a diagonal, like you're going up and right. Yeah.
All right, let's move to Giants versus Reds. Giants win the series 2-1, and in game 1, Blake Snell threw a freaking no-hitter. The Giants win 3-0. Blake Snell, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts, no hitter, but also, and I know it's a Blake Snell show, and he deserves all the praise in the world, was unbelievably awesome. We were wondering, will he enter the 9th? He was almost at 100, or I think he was above 100 pitches. We said, well, the Giants have a history of just letting their guys go out there, and thank God they did because he nailed it in the last inning. But Tyler Fitzgerald drove in 2 of the 3 runs, and we're going to talk about him as we continue this series. Game 2, Reds win 6-4. Fresh off being no hit, the Reds score 6 runs in 4 innings on 4 homers between Tyler Stevenson going yard twice, Jonathan India, and Stuart Fairchild. And Kyle Harrison, 6 earned in 3 2/3. Not good. Giants did mount a comeback, scoring 4 from the 7th and the 9th inning on a Matt Chapman double and a home run, who's also been very good this year. Home runs from Michael Conforto, pinch hit home run from Gerard Encarnacion, newcomer, San Francisco Giants. Hunter Green was just fantastic. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 11 Ks, ERA down to 2.83. Hunter Green is the only MLB pitcher in the modern era to throw at least 30 innings, no more than 10 hits allowed, and no more than 1 run in a 5-start span. That comes to us from Opta Stats on Twitter. Game 3, Giants win 8-2. Heimer Candelario and Santiago Espinal homer to give the Reds a 2-0 lead, but the Giants scored 8 straight after that. Matt Chapman, Lamont Wade, Tyler Fitzgerald all homered. Robbie Ray was good again, 5 innings, 2 earned, 9 Ks. But Tyler Fitzgerald, that's my takeaway from this series and beyond. He's played 50 games this year. He's hitting .309 with 11 jacks, OPS over 1,000. This 26-year-old has been a revelation for the San Francisco Giants and deserves a ton of praise for what he has done for them this year. Giants moved to 56 and 57. Reds fall to 53 and 58.
Downstate Illinois kid, if I'm not mistaken, Tyler Fitzgerald went to Louisville. And dude, like, he hasn't been, prospect by any stretch at any point in his career, but he's always been a very solid ball player. And this is just beyond, what you could have possibly imagined from Tyler Fitzgerald. But the talent was there, man. Like, anybody that was kind of following along on that process knew that he could do something to the 20th percentile of what he's doing right now. The fact that he's doing this right now in 50 games is utterly insane. But Blake Snell, quote of the weekend, quote, he doesn't go the 9th. He doesn't go to the 8th. You know how good that feels? Just did it. Leave me alone. That was the first time in his career he threw a pitch in the 9th inning. And he threw a no-hitter in Cincinnati. My main takeaway from this one, aside from the Snell no-hitter, is a new name has entered the National League Cy Young conversation. I think that we're going to have a serious conversation about Skeens and innings at the end of the year, and we have 2 more months to figure out how many darn innings Skeens is going to throw. Sale is right there. But before this 5-start stretch, I was not thinking about Hunter Green. He snuck into the All-Star game. Hunter Green is in the National League Cy Young conversation. And a lot of the best arms in baseball this year have been in the American League. But with the way that some NL arms have tapered off and had blowups, Green has stayed steady, man, especially over the last 2-3 months. And this guy is firmly in that National League Cy Young conversation.
100%. I just think it's amazing what he has been able to do while pitching in Great American Small Park.
Yeah.
Do we know how easy it is to score runs in that park? And the fact that he's putting up a 2.83 ERA this season, dude, is unbelievable.
Just look at fastball results, like what opponents are doing against his 4-seam fastball. And I was looking at this a little bit earlier today. It's the slowest, quote unquote, it's ever been in his career. 2022, he sat over 99 miles an hour with it. He sat 98.9, sat 98.3 last year, sitting 97.7 this year. In 2022, opponents hit 261 with a 514 slug against his 4-seamer. Last year, 265 with a 518 slug. And this year, 183 with a 267 slug. It's all about the fastball. Slider's always been great. It's all about the fastball. And I think it's fastball command that has unlocked this for him.
It's moving. Throwing stuff wherever he wants right now. And when he's got that good of stuff with that big body, I mean, we're looking at a frontline ace in this league, something that the Reds have been looking for. Was it Lodolo? Was it Ashcraft? Was it Abbott? Was it Green? It's fucking Hunter Green. He's so good.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. Red Sox Rangers. Red Sox win the series 2-1. Game 1, Red Sox win 11-6. Neither Jose Urena or Carter Crawford was any good. This was all offense. Connor Wong and Willie Abreu combined to go 7 for 10. And Abreu had 2 go-ahead hits in this game, including a home run. Rafael Devers also homered for the Sox. Now, Corey Seager homered twice. Marcus Semien also homered, but it just wasn't enough. Excuse me. Game 2, Rangers win 7-4. Rob Refsnyder hit 2 home runs early, but Jonah Heim and Leody Taveras answered with home runs of their own. It was a big 6th inning by the Rangers offense that gave them the win. Tanner Houck, not good again. 5 innings, 6 earned. That's his 3rd start with at least 4 earned runs allowed since the All-Star game, where he also allowed 3 runs in 1 inning. Game 3, Red Sox win 7-2. They get their revenge. Seager and Josh Young led off the game with home runs for the Rangers, but that was the only offense they had as the Red Sox rolled after Willie Abreu again homered twice. Duran homered and had an RBI double, and David Hamilton homered as well. Red Sox move to 59 and 51. Rangers fall to 53 and 59.
I really didn't have much from this series at all. I love that Wilyer Abreu homered. Like, I think Wilyer Abreu is having one of the more underrated seasons in baseball. And, you know, I know that he kind of hit like the suspension bridge moment for a minute, but at the end of the day, I love to see his success. And frankly, like, I think the Red Sox, I've said this, I think I said this like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, but the Red Sox vibe, like, they kind of scream American League vibes team. I'm sorry. I know Yankee fan, American League vibes team.
Dude, I don't give. They're fun and exciting. I mean, I think it's a testament to the Red Sox front office too. The fact that they pulled off Willie Abreu for Christian Vasquez, if I'm not mistaken.
Willie Abreu and another, I think, for Vasquez.
And Willie Abreu this year is an 856 OPS. He's slashing 275, 337, 519. He's 25 years old. What a pickup by the Red Sox. No, my takeaway was short and simple. Rangers.
I think they're out of it at this point.
That's kind of my takeaway. It's like a moment of silence here.
Yeah.
We were waiting for something. We were waiting for the deadline. You didn't add. Kind of front office told you what they think of this team, I think. And then you're losing now. At home. Now, if you're better than the Red Sox, you win the series. It's tough. I don't even really know how to break it down because it just stinks. But you won a goddamn World Series last year, so it's like if I could tell you your team stinks to a fan base like this who literally just won a World Series, and I think they're all good.
I think they're fine with that.
Yeah, I think they're fine with that. Like, you take this, but you got to take this now. It's not a very good team this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right. Last series for me, Cardinals versus Cubs. Game 1, Cubs win 5-4. We were at that game, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Cardinals won the pitching battle. Sonny Gray went 7 innings, 2 earned. Shota Imanaga allowed 10 hits and 4 earned in 6 innings. We saw home runs from Paul Goldschmidt, including a Seiya Suzuki 459-foot jack by Peter Vision over 500 feet. Mason Witt and Cody Bellinger also went yard, and the Cubs had a 4-2 lead going into the ninth against Ryan Helsley. And we're with Cubs fans in the bleachers. And I'm saying, hey, never give up. Cubs fans, they ain't giving up either. And the Cubs, their players, they didn't give up. Tie it up, Belly, Swanson, and then Mike Tauchman, double to win it. Shout out newcomer Nate Pearson for 2 shutout innings. What a game. Game 2, Cubs win 6-3. Newcomer Eric Fetty for the Cardinals, not good. 5 earned in 5 innings. It was his 3rd time all year allowing 5 earned or more. Christian Bethancourt, newcomer, 3-run bomb. Michael Busch, home run in the 5th inning as well, or labeled a 5-run 2nd inning. I wrote down a bunch of numbers and I misquoted it when I was talking about it. Cardinals 3 runs were scored on bases loaded walks, 1 in the 3rd and 2 in the 8th. That's the only way that they scored. Cubs win. Game 3, Cardinals win 5-4. Alec Burleson and Michael Busch trade home runs in the 1st. Michael Busch has been awesome this year. 800 OPS. He's been really, really solid for the Cubs. Really took the league by storm early on. Faltered off. Not a lot of people have talked about him. He's been much better, and it's just been a really good player this season. The Cubs had a 4-1 lead going into the 8th before a rally by the Cardinals to tie it up. And then in the 9th, Lars Nootbaar sac fly to grab the lead. And game 4 is Sunday Night Baseball, where we are currently recording. And the Cubs are winning 6-2 in the top of the 8th inning. Mason Wynn hit a home run. Miguel Amaya hit a home run. Mike Tauchman hit a home run. Miles Michaelis did not pitch very well, but Justin Steele dominated per usual. Mississippi fastball, 6 2/3, 2 earned, 6 Ks.
There we go.
So it looks like the Cubs will likely win the series.
Yeah.
3-4 or 3-4,
3-1,
3-1, 4-game set.
I thought that loss was brutal for the Cubs, though. Like, I thought that loss was actually louder because of that. I don't even want to call it a miscommunication. Like, PCA trying to play hero ball on that ball when Nico Horner was there.
Yeah, truthfully, I wasn't able to watch that game, so I didn't see what happened.
So 4-2 game, top of the. This is good because like people that didn't get to watch that.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't get to watch that game.
They'll hear this. I think the call was actually "Oh no" from John Shambi. Top of the 8th, 2 men out, runners at second and third. Cubs are up 4-2. So the Cardinals have men at second and third. Little pop up, shallow center, corner, who's playing second base, goes back, calls for it. He's camped. Gets out of the way at the last moment because PCA is sprinting in. Slides, doesn't make the catch. Both runs score because runners were off on contact with 2 outs. That tied the game at 4. They end up losing that game.
Not good.
That's hero ball.
Yeah.
And PCA is one of the very few players that I've ever seen try to play hero ball in baseball. And that was hero ball. And that was like really, really bad. He looks overmatched at the major league level.
And if you're not playing 80 grade defense in center, like Michael Ciani is making a career for himself playing elite defense and just bunting the baseball and filling his role.
Well, and that's the thing. PCA is an 80 grade defender, but like there are times where
like
he can't get out of his own way.
Yeah.
When he realizes that he gets in his own way sometimes, I think that unlocks like the true 80 grade best outfield defender you've ever seen. But now it just seems like he's working at this roadrunner speed that is so unsustainable over 162.
Probably trying to do too much in the field because he's struggling offensively.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, like hitting a $196, having a 562 OPS, that's going to wear on you. And like it feels like this guy's pressing defensively, and that's something we hardly ever see.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Just Baseball Show. That was the weekend roundup. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the breakdown of the weekend series that were. Jack and Will and I am Peter Apple. Again, we hope you enjoy your Monday. And if you could, might be early, Monday morning, you might be heading into work. I know, but once you get to work, quick couple taps, 5-star review on Apple and Spotify would really, really help us out. As well as subscribe on YouTube if you are watching. If you have made us part of your morning routine, we appreciate you. We love you. And if you could hit that subscribe button, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And leave, did we get any takeaways weird, anything wrong, anything great? Let us know in the YouTube comments below. Make sure to get your Just Baseball merch. Also, code Just Baseball on BetMGM. We know the drill. $1,500 first bet offer for Jack and Will. And you got anything to say before we go?
No, don't let me know where I was wrong. Just let me kind of stew and talk behind my back.
And with that, thank you, everybody.